Okay, let's unpack this. So many people, especially if they're new to a country like Israel, find that whole self-employment thing, well, really challenging.
Oh, absolutely. It's like navigating a maze sometimes. The taxes, insurance.
Exactly. All the paperwork, it's a lot. So today we're doing a deep dive right into that specific world, freelancer compliance, financial management, but specifically in Israel.
Hmm.
And we're looking at one particular service that claims to offer a different path, helping you manage taxes, insurance, pension, all without actually opening a formal business file.
Right. And our mission here is to really get under the hood of this. Is it legal? Who is it actually for? What are the real benefits?
Trying to find that shortcut to being well-informed, as you put it.
Exactly. Helping you figure out if this could bring some financial peace of mind if you're freelancing over there.
So first things first, let's set the stage. There's a basic legal thing in Israel that if you get paid for any work or service,
Any payment.
even like a one-off gig, a small project,
Yeah.
you have to invoice it, you have to report it
No way around.
to the tax authority, to PwC, that's national insurance, and the VAT authorities. It's just the law.
It is. And traditionally, you've got like two main ways to handle this based on our sources anyway.
Okay.
Option one, you bite the bullet and open a sole proprietorship, an Osik Patur or Osik Mersha.
Right, register yourself as a business.
Exactly. Which means, dealing with all the authorities yourself, managing all the reports, all the payments, it's complex, time-consuming for sure.
A big hurdle for many, I imagine.
Definitely. Then there's option two, which is what we're really focusing on today. Using one of these payslip employee services.
Okay.
The promise here is you can issue legal invoices, stay compliant, but without registering as self-employed yourself, you actually get a payslip, like a regular employee.
Right, here's where it gets really interesting. This payslip employee model. It sounds almost too good to be true. Is it some kind of loophole?
Well, no, not according to the sources. It's known in Hebrew as Atzmai Sachir.
Atzmai Sachir. Got it.
And the idea is you work independently, you find your own clients, do your own projects.
But the money flows differently.
Exactly. It flows through this service provider, who then pays you via a proper legal payslip. So you're compliant with Israeli law, but you skip that whole self-registration process.
And it's fully above board.
Seems so. The sources are quite clear. It operates in full coordination with the tax authority and PwC, and it's overseen by certified legal and accounting pros. It's kind of a clever adaptation, really, to the gig economy.
So it takes away not just the paperwork, but that sort of mental weight of being officially a business.
I think that's a big part of the appeal. It removes that administrative burden.
Okay, so who is this actually for? Who benefits most from this kind of setup?
Well, the sources point to a few key groups. First, you've got regular employees who also have a side gig.
Right, someone with a full-time job, maybe doing some consulting, selling crafts online, that kind of thing.
Exactly. They want the extra income, but they really don't want the headache of setting up a separate business for it.
Makes sense.
Then, of course, there are full-time freelancers, especially those who just, hate the admin side, the invoicing, the chasing payments.
They just want to do the work.
Pretty much. And interestingly, it specifically mentions USA citizens.
Oh, why them specifically?
Apparently, it can help them avoid potential double Social Security payments, which can be a real issue when working abroad.
Ah, okay. That's quite specific.
Yeah, and then more broadly, it mentions companies that need services but don't want direct employees, new businesses starting out, even foreign residents who need a legal channel to invoice in Israel. So quite a wide range, actually.
Okay, so if you fall into one of those categories, what does this service actually do for you? What's included?
It seems quite comprehensive. Number one is personalized compliance and advisory support. So help with your income tax, your national insurance contributions.
And explicitly, without needing that business file.
Right, that's the key tagline. Then a big one, a multilingual team. They offer support in Hebrew, English, Russian, and Arabic.
That's huge, especially for immigrants or international workers.
Absolutely. They also guide you on pension and benefits. Apparently, they partner with PwC Israel for professional advice on pensions, severance pay, that sort of thing.
PwC, that's a major name. Adds credibility.
It does. And finally, they talk about transparent, fair pricing. It's linked to your income, not just a flat fee.
Okay, so it scales with how much work you're actually doing.
Seems that way. No nasty surprises, hopefully.
You mentioned other options earlier. How does this specific service claim to be better than, say, just hiring your own accountant or using a different platform? What are the differentiators?
Good question. The sources highlight a few things they claim set them apart. First, that personal human support. They contrast this with, automated systems or very limited contact.
More hands-on.
Yeah. Then the multilingual aspect, again, Hebrew, English, Russian, Arabic, which they say many competitors don't offer, being mostly Hebrew-focused. The pension and severance advice is also mentioned as something often not included elsewhere.
Right. Usually that's extra or you're on your own.
Exactly. And that partnership with PwC Israel is flagged as unique. Plus, the pricing transparent, income-based versus potentially fixed fees or hidden costs you might find with other services.
So it sounds like they're positioning themselves as a more holistic, supportive partner, not just a processing service.
That seems to be the angle, yes.
Okay, practicalities. If someone listening thinks, this might work for me, how does it actually work? What are the steps?
They lay it out pretty simply. 4 main steps. 1, schedule a free consultation, talk it through.
Makes sense. See if it fits.
2, submit your details and documents, securely, of course.
Standard onboarding stuff.
3, they create a customized compliance plan for you based on your situation.
Okay.
And 4, you get ongoing support and annual reviews. So it's meant to be pretty hands-off once you're set up.
Right, letting them handle the back-end stuff. Now, the big question, cost. You said income-based, but what does that actually look like?
Okay, so the structure they describe is a low monthly base fee, 50 shekels.
50 shekels. Yep.
Plus a percentage of the amounts you invoice through them. This percentage goes up to a maximum of 5%, and that's before VAT.
Right, VAT excluded. Got it. Any examples?
Yeah, they give a few. If you invoice, say, 1,000 shekels in a month, the total fee is 100 shekels.
Okay, 50 base plus 55% of the 1,000.
Exactly. If you invoice 5,000 shekels, the fee is 300 shekels.
Right.
And for 15,000 shekels invoice, the fee hits 800 shekels. They also mention custom plans and volume discounts if you're invoicing significantly more.
Seems relatively clear. But you mentioned VAT. That's always a tricky point in Israel.
Crucial point. Absolutely crucial. Any invoice issued through the service has to include the standard Israeli VAT, which is currently 18%.
Okay, 18%.
And the strong advice, the very strong advice from the source, is that you need to add this VAT on top of your actual service price when you quote your clients.
So if your rate is 100, you need to charge 118.
Precisely. Multiply your rate by 1.18. Because if you don't specify that VAT is additional, the service provider still has to pay the VAT to the government.
And they'll deduct it from your payment.
Exactly. That 18% will come out of your net earnings. That's a nasty shock if you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, that's a really vital piece of advice. Definitely something to watch out for. Okay, so the service issues the invoice, collects the payment. How quickly does the money actually get to the freelancer?
Yeah, give some timelines. If the client pays by check, it's about 4 business days after the check clears.
Okay.
Bank transfers or cash are quicker, usually 2 business days after the deposit hits their account.
Right.
Credit card payments take a bit longer, maybe around 10 business days, and then your actual salary slip, detailing everything, arrives at the end of that calendar month.
Got it. And what about year-end tax time?
They handle that too. You receive what's called Form 106.
Form 106, okay.
Which summarizes your total annual income received through the service, all the deductions, everything needed for your tax filing. It streamlines that whole end-of-year process.
Sounds like it really does aim to remove the administrative burden. You mentioned testimonials earlier. Any specific feedback?
Yeah, a couple were highlighted. Anna Kay, a software developer, talked about how it made tax compliance simple, stress-free. She particularly liked the support in Russian, which made her feel more comfortable.
The language support again.
And David M., a graphic designer, emphasized avoiding the need to open a business file, which was his main goal. Plus, he found the pension advice really valuable, something he hadn't really thought about before.
Right, focusing on the work, not the bureaucracy, and getting that extra layer of financial planning help.
That seems to be the common thread, yeah.
And just briefly, you noted the company behind this, CWS Israel, also does employer of record services.
Yes, that's mentioned. They work as an in-country partner for bigger international companies, handling employment compliance for them in Israel. So employer of record, PEO services, that kind of thing.
Suggests they have a pretty deep understanding of Israeli employment law and compliance generally.
You'd assume so, yes.
Yeah.
Adds a bit of context to their expertise in this area.
Okay. So let's bring it back. What does this all mean for you, the listener, if you're freelancing or thinking about it in Israel?
Well, I think the main takeaway from our deep dive today is that the traditional path, opening your own sole proprietorship, isn't the only legal way anymore.
Right. There are these structured alternatives, like this Atzmai Sachir model, that can genuinely simplify things. Compliance, taxes, insurance, even pension, all potentially managed for you.
It's about offloading that complexity. This kind of service acts like a bridge, really. It handles the tricky local regulations so you can just focus on, well, doing your job.
Which is what most freelancers want, right?
Exactly. And it does raise a bigger question, doesn't it?
Go on.
Well, thinking beyond just the specific service in Israel, what if models like this, the payslip employee or employer of record models, become more widespread globally?
Hmm. What would that mean for the future of work? Could it fundamentally change how independent professionals operate across different countries, different tax systems?
Could it make global freelancing much more seamless, less bogged down by national borders and bureaucracy?
A potential future where independent work integrates more smoothly into diverse economies. That's definitely something interesting